than just that. I think we're going to see those evangelicals that stayed home the last time, those people who have become disenfranchised, people who have been Democrats in the past just because they were told their granddaddy told them to be Democrats.
The evangelicals don't matter, though. I hate to tell you, the evangelicals don't.
Listen, let me take this. Hang on a second. Let me take this conversation.
Which state actually has a high percentage of evangelicals?
Let me take. Look, I got Scotty Nell Hughes and Ford O'Connell on this program with yours truly last night in a heated debate over the significance of evangelical voters in 2016. A whole lot of Republicans are courting evangelicals, but which candidate can win them over, and how much of an impact will it have first in Iowa and perhaps subsequently in the general election? Joining us via Skype from Des Moines, Iowa, syndicated radio host Steve Deace. Steve is the author of the book, Rules for Patriots. And likewise joining us via Skype from Thousand Oaks, California, it's our good friend David Lane, a political activist who is the founder of the American Renewal Project. David, just how important is the evangelical vote to Republican candidates?
Well, it's very important in the primary. Evangelicals will decide Iowa and South Carolina. It's really important in the general election. I think it can be, it's fact that McCain lost 2 million evangelical votes in 08, then Bush in 04, and Romney lost an additional 2 million evangelical voters in 12 than McCain had in 08. So somebody this time is going to have to figure out how to move the evangelicals. If the evangelicals engage, the estimated 65 to 80 million evangelicals who read their Bible, go to church, pray, then it's going to be tremendous for the conservatives. If they don't and they stay home, as they did in 8 and 12, it's going to be a bad year.
Well, we expect a whole lot of folks to get out in Iowa in less than a month, and that's where Steve Deace is on the ground and on the air, and quite influential. Now, Steve, you've cast your lot this time around with Ted Cruz. Ted still seems to be running strongly. Will Iowa be in cruise control during the caucus?
Well, just to put some data points on what David just said, 60% of the vote in Iowa, JD, are evangelicals. In fact, it's even higher. In South Carolina, in 2012, 65% of the voters there were evangelicals. And there was a study done by CBS News. Nationwide, over 50% of the Republicans who voted in the 2012 Republican presidential primary were evangelical. So you're still talking about the largest subset of the Republican base. And when you look at Ted Cruz, here's a guy who's the first person ever to win the Values Voters straw poll 3 years in a row. And he's sort of put together on the ground in Iowa sort of this evangelical super team with Bob Vander Plaats and Steve King, who's Catholic but is beloved by evangelicals in Iowa. And now you're starting to see this spill out nationally, where you're seeing an unprecedented unity of evangelical leadership. We haven't seen this. I was a kid, when Reagan left the Oval Office in 1988. Well,
that's going to be very interesting if this holds up as you're predicting through the Iowa caucuses, Steve. Now, let me turn to David again. And David, Steve made mention of the Value Voters Summits. Very interesting. Last time around, Donald Trump brought his personal copy of the Bible with him while making a pitch to evangelicals. Let's take a listen to what the Donald had to say about faith.
Most importantly, I brought my Bible. Okay? And, it's First Presbyterian Church, Jamaica, and this was written by my mother with my name, it's a long time ago, with my name, with my address, with everything. In case I lost it, somebody would return it.
So Trump working to try to convince faith-based voters, he's one of them. David, in your mind, does the Donald come across authentically?
I think he's authentic. What Trump has done is thrown a monkey wrench into the coronation of an establishment Republican being nominated by loading, they've loaded the front-loaded the.
It's interesting. Yeah, you bring up that whole thing because people said, the establishment and Bush, they're going to be out front. Things have changed so much that now Marco Rubio is considered a representative of the establishment. He's courting faith-based voters with a new ad in Iowa. Let's take a look, and then Steve will ask for your reaction.
Our goal is eternity, the ability to live alongside our Creator for all time, to accept the free gift of salvation offered to us by Jesus Christ. The struggle on a daily basis as a Christian is to remind ourselves of this. The purpose of our life is to cooperate with God's plan. To those who much has been given, much is expected. And we will be asked to account for that. Were your treasures stored up on earth or in heaven? And to me, I try to allow that to influence me in everything that I do.
10 seconds to Steve Deace. That Marco Rubio ad, a good one?
It's an okay ad, but he has no organizational heft in the church community in Iowa whatsoever, so I don't see it delivering anything for him.
Fair enough. Gentlemen, we thank you for your time. We will leave it right there. You've probably heard about the shocking new book, Unlikable: The Problem with Hillary by Edward Klein. Unlikable has already hit the top of the bestseller lists and might be the most powerful expose on Hillary ever written. Inside Unlikable, Klein offers a stunning, powerful expose of Hillary Clinton and her floundering race for the White House. With unprecedented access, Klein meticulously recreates conversations and details of Clinton's behind-the-scenes plotting. Unlikable also reveals the angry rivalry between Hillary and President Obama. Unlikable retails for $29.95, but you can get it absolutely free with this exclusive offer for Newsmax viewers. Just go online to newsmax.com/Klein or call 800-850-8749. That's 800-850-8749. With the 2016 election fast approaching, you need to get Unlikable and be armed with the truth about Hillary. Call right now and take part in this free offer.